Hi guys, welcome back to Practicing Real Well. I'm Cindy and thank you for clicking onto this video. Shout out my son though. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much to those who watched the previous video about our testimony on conceiving, and the responses. It's been absolutely amazing and I truly do thank God, and it's kind of a reminder how important it is to share your testimony. So if you've got a testimony that you're holding on to, baby girl, you gotta let it out. You gotta let it out. It blesses other people. But yes, so this video I really want to talk about the first 2 weeks and just how that was, because I'm a first time mama, and obviously from hearing my testimony I was coming from a very different mindset of not wanting children. So yeah, the first 2 weeks were definitely very difficult. And when people ask me like how was it and stuff like that, I'm very honest with them because it's real, it's definitely life-changing, but it is the most beautiful experience and continues to be the most beautiful experience of my life, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So yeah, so the first 2 weeks, first day we came home, it's weird because you leave the hospital and you're just like, okay, we just have to, what's up? Bye, baby. Oh, the first 2 weeks were very difficult, very challenging, but again, even in all of that, God was and is. I can still hear you.
Oh, sorry, I closed the door.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Again, for those of you who'd watched the previous video, you kind of have an idea of where my mindset was at in the past before about children. Some of the things I would think of would be like, am I going to be a good parent? Are we going to bond well? Am I going to like instantly love him? Like, how's it going to be? Am I going to be like, is it going to feel like a job rather than, you know, mother and son relationship? How is it going to be? But then I really just decided, you know what, I'm not going to think about those things in a negative way or in a fearful way. Those are definitely concerns. Not necessarily concerns, but those are definitely thoughts. But I'm going to just leave it to the Lord and just allow him to help me in that situation. So yeah, like as soon as I gave birth, it was overwhelming. As soon as they put him on me, I was just like, my baby, thank you, Jesus. But yes, there was definitely an instant love there. I mean, I'd loved him before, even when he was in my room, and, you know, all the kicks and stuff, you get to bond with them from before, but there was a different kind of love that I felt, and it continues to grow day by day. It's so, oh, guys, it's amazing. I even remember, like, one of our friends came over, and he was like, do you love him? Like, it's a weird question, but do you love him? And I was like, yeah, but I understood the question because it's a new person. It's a new person that you're getting to know, and does it come naturally? Does that love just happen? And for me, it definitely did. I know that for some people it doesn't, and they struggle with that in the beginning, and some people struggle with postnatal depression, which I thought that I would struggle with, but thanks be to God I didn't, and I really do thank him, because I understand how people can easily slip into it. So even though the beginning was very hard and I thought that was a very dark time for me, and I'm not in that place anymore, I still speak over my mind because I don't want any of that to possibly attach itself to me in any way, shape or form, because I do not have time for that. I just want to live in love and just live, yeah, I'm trying to enjoy my son and enjoy just the gifts of the Lord, because it's hard, it is difficult, and for those of you who may be suffering with postnatal depression, God is with you. Honestly, God is with you. Another thing that I was really concerned about before I gave birth was breastfeeding, because I really wanted to breastfeed. So I would pray over my milk supply, but then the latching was an issue. Now for me, in the first let me say month, in the first month of baby's life, yeah, that was a real issue. Especially the first 2 to 3 weeks, that was a dark time for me, because he just wouldn't latch. He just would not latch. And because that's what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was breastfeed, and I'd already had this idea in my mind that I'm not doing bottles, I'm not doing formula, and I'd already put them in a section that meant failure for me personally. I just said, no, that's not happening. If that has to happen, that means I failed. So he wasn't latching, and it was just very difficult. He wasn't feeding well. So for those of you who know, once you give birth and you go home, the midwives come to your house, I think like 3 days after, just 3 days after he's born, and they come to check his weight and just generally check the baby. So the baby's allowed to lose up to 10% of their birth weight in those first 3 days, but our son lost more than that. So normally you would have to be admitted back to the hospital, and I was just not having him going to neonatal. Just the thought of you're gonna have to go back to hospital just terrified me, because I didn't think there was anything wrong, because I told them in the hospital that he's not latching, but they were like, don't worry, he'll get there, and their belly is just really small, so they don't really need much to eat. Just keep doing what you're doing. So I'm like, okay, please, if you're saying it's okay, let me go home and just be doing what I'm doing. So I'm still there doing what I'm doing, trying to get him to latch. Bearing in mind, I'm a new mum, I have no clue. I don't know what's going on, I don't know what it's supposed to feel like. It's just, yeah. So then when they told me that, oh, he needs more food, I'm like, raw. That worry just attacked me, like, oh my gosh, my baby's not eating. He's gonna have to go back to the hospital. But thankfully, the midwife that came, she called the pediatrician, and she was explaining that he seems clinically well, he doesn't have jaundice or anything, he seems fine. So she would recommend that we just get some formula for him, just to like get him some food like quickly, because my milk supply hadn't come in yet. It came in on the 5th day, but that was the 3rd day. So it was yeah, as soon as she said that, I just broke down, because I thought, oh my life, I can't feed my child. I'm not able to feed him. I'm not able to give him what he needs. And for this past 3 days, he's been starving. That's what I thought. I thought I've been starving him. I've just been starving him. So then Martha had to go get some formula from the shops, came home. And because my mindset was formula is failure, it was just horrible. I was so low. I was just, honestly, I was very low. And just feeding him through that bottle it just made me feel like I'd seriously failed him. I seriously failed my son. 2 days after that, my milk supply came in, so then I was expressing, but then I really wanted to just have that, you know, that breastfeeding connection. So then I would still be trying to get him to latch. It wasn't happening. Someone, I think another midwife came or something like that, and she was explaining to me that, you know, just keep trying, but because we've introduced bottles, we had to introduce bottles, maybe he's going to have some nipple confusion, and he's going to know that the bottle is easier, so why do you want me to try so hard for this thing? Just give me the bottle. The way I was persistent, I can't even explain to you how hard I was trying. I'd be in his room, just there, just trying to breastfeed for hours, and then in between giving them the bottles, I was trying, literally, I was probably spending most of my day trying to breastfeed, and it was just long, because I was trying hard, he was trying hard, but he was just tired, he was losing energy, it was just a lot, and then because in the beginning, they just wake up all the time, like, they just wake up like every hour or so in the night, so there was sleep deprivation, there was me feeling very low, and like, low-key depressed. There was just different things different things were happening all at once, and then I'm trying to feed him. It was just a lot. My mind literally was in such a low state. Luckily, my mum stayed with us for the first week, because she had to travel. She would have stayed longer, but she had to travel. She stayed with us for the first week, and that she was a godsend. She was a godsend, because honestly, if my mum wasn't here, like, I don't know what I would have done, because Marcel would have been great help. But again, this is his first time being a parent as well, and having my mum there as my support, just to be there for me, was needed, and someone who is experienced was needed, because we ain't had a clue what we're doing. We didn't have no clue. So mummy being here was just perfect. It was perfect. And her praying and speaking over me and helping me, just, you know, just different things, being someone here to cook, because I was not thinking about eating. She would literally remind me to eat. She would force me to eat. And listen, my mum was not joking, you know. She was like, you need to eat. My grandson needs to have milk. You need to be eating this food. You need to eat this food so that your milk can come in. There was a group called the Breastfeeding Network. I contacted them and I asked them to help me. They came in. They assisted me. The woman that came in first, she said she thinks he's got nipple confusion. So she advised that we shouldn't give him the bottles anymore. So try other techniques, like cup feeding or different things like that, because his belly was still small. So cup feeding or syringe feeding would be okay, and then keep trying with the breast. So I kept doing that, kept trying, and then one time I tried to do the cup feeding, and for me choking is a no-no. So then I was feeding him with the bottle and with the cup, and too much had gone down. So then he started like coughing, and literally my body just froze. And I was like, Mom, please take him. She took him, and guys, I kid you not, I literally broke down. I went into the bed and I rolled up, and I was so stiff. My body was stiff. I was weeping. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. She was like, Cindy, stop doing that because he can feel you. So she took him to the other room and she was like, Cindy, look, he's fine. Look, he's not choking. I'm feeding him. He's having it. He's okay. I'm like, I'm starving him. Why am I making him suffer just because I want to breastfeed? I'm being selfish, and let me just give him the bottle. Let me just give him formula. Let me just do this and do that. Let me just give up now because I can't be bothered to just keep going through this and for him to just be suffering like this. And my mum was like, Cindy, you need to stop it. You need to stop it. And then she was like, Cindy, come and hold him. I was like, no, I can't hold him. And she was like, Cindy, you need to stop it. You have postnatal depression if you keep doing this. I said, oh, God forbid. Like, I just did it. Oh, guys, it was hard. Every time I would put that bottle in his mouth, I would just feel like I've taken 10 steps backwards again, and I'm like, I'm further away from breastfeeding, but my baby has to eat. But the pain was real. Like when he would like hook like the pain, like my nerve in my back would hurt. It was just, the pain was real. Also, they were telling me that it's not supposed to be painful, which I think is a big lie, because you read in places that, you know, breastfeeding shouldn't be painful if they're latched on properly. But for the first time, I'm sorry, but you will experience a level of pain because you've got a child sucking hard. Luckily, someone came over on Tuesday and it was a different woman. She said what she always does is when parents explain this to her, she always checks that if the baby's got a tongue tie. So then she checked in his mouth. She said she can't give us an official diagnosis, but she said she believes that he's got a tongue tie, because she's seen this too many times. She's been doing it for like 9 years. And then once she explained to us what a tongue tie is and how it can affect breastfeeding, as soon as she said it, as soon as she explained everything and she was finished, literally a weight came off my shoulders. Like, I felt lighter, I felt free. I felt like, I don't know, she just like opened a door for me. And I said to the woman, you don't know what you've done. Literally, God has sent you here and you've set me free. Like, I felt free. And after that, I didn't feel like it was my fault. I didn't feel like, you know, I was doing something wrong or I wasn't trying hard enough. I felt like it's okay. And I felt so proud of him because I said, oh my gosh, he's been trying so hard. He's been trying really hard. And then I knew that, you know what, he really wants to breastfeed, but it's just difficult. The way I felt free giving him that bottle, I would express, and I would just gladly give him that bottle without any fear that he would become too used to the bottle and he wouldn't want to breastfeed. So I would just give him the bottle without any fear, and I said that, you know what, Lord, I know that you're going to make a way, because even though he's having the bottle, he's also going to breastfeed, and it's going to be fine. He's going to have both, and it all worked out. Honestly, God works things out for your good, because now there were some babies that will only breastfeed. They won't accept a bottle at all, or there were babies who will only accept a bottle and not accept breast. Like me, when I was younger, my mum said you couldn't even put a bottle close to me because I would scream and I would not eat until she comes back home. So I knew that that's how I was, and I was like, okay, I'm grateful that God has worked this out for my good, because he will have a bottle gladly and he will also have the breast gladly, and he's a very good baby. So if I need to leave him with my mom or my mother-in-law for a few hours, I can do that because I'm not worried that he's not going to feed, because he will gladly have a bottle. So God honestly works things out for your good. The woman advised us to book an appointment to see a specialist for the tongue tie, to get it snipped, so that his, you know, it would help with his breastfeeding. But the next appointment was in 3 weeks. So I said to myself, in these 3 weeks, we're going to continue to work hard with the breastfeeding, but I don't feel guilty giving you a bottle. So then it was he could feel that I was more relaxed, and it was just a nicer journey. And I kept praying and I kept trusting God, and Marcel was great support. He kept praying as well, and he just kept encouraging me, reminding me that I'm doing well, because sometimes I would still get discouraged. So he just kept speaking good things over me. And then one day he just latched on, and it felt amazing. I was like, Marcel, look, he's latched on, and I was just amazed. I just didn't want it to come off. Like, it's weird because he latched on and I was in an awkward position, but you think I was moving. I was not moving. I said, listen, I will be in this awkward position until he comes off by himself, because I couldn't just, it was just amazing for me that he'd actually latched on. He was still basically learning how to breastfeed. I had to still give him top-ups with the bottle. So then he would have his breastfeeding session, and then after that I would have to give him expressed milk in the bottle, just so that he's having enough, because obviously we were still working on his weight gain as well. The way breastfeeding works is kind of like a demand and supply. So when the baby demands for it, that's when it's supplied. You supply as much as the baby demands. So because the baby wasn't on my breast effectively and a lot, the supply kept going down, and because of that I was getting more stressed, and because of my stress the supply was going down and lower. But I had milk that I had expressed in the fridge. Once the milk was like going down, what I had stored in the fridge, and I had one bottle left, I remember, and I tried to breastfeed and stuff, but it was like he just kept whinging, and I think it's because it wasn't really coming out. So then I tried to express ready for like the afternoon feed, and guys, I was honestly expressing for half. For those of you who've expressed, you understand what I'm talking about. But I literally sat down that pump for half an hour. I've got a double pump for half an hour, and between both breasts I only produced 15 mil. I only produced 1 ounce, 30 mil. And I sat there and I said, God, what is going on? This isn't even like half an hour and this is what I'm producing. Guys, I was finished. I handed the baby over to Marcel and I said, there's a milk bottle in the fridge. I'll be right back. I went into the room, and the piece of prayer that I let out, I emptied myself before the Lord. I said, listen, Lord, this is your word, you know. Your word is true. You honor your word more than your name. So in this situation, I'm waiting for you to honor your word. I'm waiting for you to honor your word, because your word says that you will not give your children stone if they ask for bread. My son is asking for milk, so I'm not going to be giving him anything else but milk that comes from me. I just felt like I've given up. There's nothing else that I can do. There's nothing else I can do in my own strength. And I came literally to the end of myself. And I said, God, I am angry. I am just low. I felt everything that I felt, I told him. And I said, you know what, Lord, help me to have faith in you. Help me to trust in you. And I said, Lord, I'm going to have to go and buy formula because my child needs to eat at the end of the day. I said, but you know, Lord, that I don't want to do this. I don't want to give him formula, but I'm going to have to. But I do it trusting you that you will supply. You will supply. So then I left the house. Just the first time I left the house since I gave birth. I went to go buy the formula, and I was looking at the aisle, stood in the aisle, and I was just disgusted at the formula, if that makes sense. I looked at it and I was just like, ugh. So I bought it, came home, and we were using it. We used it for like one day. We used it for that one day. And guys, I kid you not, the next day, I woke up and I expressed my milk supply was overflowing. I said, what? Lord. Even though he wasn't effectively demanding for it, it was producing, it was there, as though he was demanding for it. So I said, God, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. So then in those 3 weeks, we did a lot of hard work. So by the time that we got to the appointment, God was just like, listen, let me answer another prayer for you. Oh, guys, honestly, God is amazing. There should be no need for them to to snip. The specialist was, you know, checking his mouth and stuff, and she was like, oh, would you like to come over, mum, and look in his mouth? So I've gone in and I've looked inside, and guys, I cannot explain to you how good God is. I've looked inside his mouth, and bearing in mind I've been looking in his mouth, you know, like every day since I was told about this tongue tie. I looked in his mouth, and the thing at the back did not look the same. I was looking, I was thinking, wait, that thing is not, like, it did, the tie did, I can't explain it, but it just didn't look the same as it looked the other day. I said, wow, like, God, you've answered my prayers? You really did that. And then she's the specialist, like, she said, there's no need for me to cut anything. There's no need at all. You just have to just keep doing what you're doing because you're doing well. It was amazing because in that week I said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to be doing any more additional expressing to be giving them top-ups. Like, I believe that you're going to learn how to get everything that you need from me directly. And we had a lovely week of working hard together, and I said, you know what, it doesn't matter how many times you want to feed. I can listen, even if you're feeding every 5 minutes, I'm ready for it. But you'll just learn. And guys, within a few days, like, he was getting better. He was getting better, and eventually, like, within a week, he knew how to effectively breastfeed. And I was just like, rah, this is fantastic. I say all of this to say that God is real, God is awesome, God cares, and he answers prayers. I was honestly very close to the edge of some serious depression, but God said, no, that's not your portion. I'm turning things around for you. And the way that he was just answering prayers was just, it was mind-blowing, and it continues to be mind-blowing for me. And I will forever share of this testimony because I really believe that God wants us to really have faith in him again, because I believe that some of us have really lost our faith in God answering prayers. Like I said in our previous video, we believe that God can do these things in theory, but in reality he can do them. He can actually do them, and it's a fact. It's not even a fact, it's the truth, because that's who he is. He honors his word more than his name. Bring the word of the Lord back to him and he will honor it, because I said, Lord, you are the one that gave me this child. You gave him the right mom. I have everything that I need to have for him. My child is not going to lack anything. God is not going to allow him to lack in any way, shape or form. So whether it's milk, whether it's attention, whatever it is, the Lord is going to equip me with everything that is going to be beneficial for him. Everything that he needs from me, I'm going to be able to provide. Everything that he needs from his father, he's going to be able to have it for him. He's not going to lack in any way, shape or form. Whether you're an expectant parent, or you just gave birth, or you have children, or you want children, God is in control. And lay your requests before him. Lay your concerns before him. He's willing to listen. He's willing to answer. He is God. He is true. He's real. And he is your father. He really is your father. And he's going to provide for you, He's going to really provide for you. So just trust him. As always, I really hope that this video has encouraged you and that you feel really blessed and full of faith and full of hope. I hope that you guys have an amazing day. Continue to trust God. Continue to practice revival. Continue to practice being a friend of God. And yeah, he's faithful. So yeah, you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.